So the Christian influence in hoodoo is a very important conversation to have, and we often like to avoid it because of the sticky relationship that Christians and hoodoo practitioners have. So hoodoo is a set of spiritual practices and traditions that our ancestors held onto during the period of enslavement. Most of these spiritual practices and traditions came from West Africa and African traditional religions within West Africa. Our ancestors had to practice their traditional religions and spiritual practices covertly because they were banned during the period of enslavement. So to practice them, they had to hide them in what was allowed, which was the Christian church. Now, this is the thing about the sticky relationship between Christianity and hoodoo. It's two-sided because on the Christian side, a lot of Christians feel like practicing hoodoo is demonic because it's idol worship. However, I just want to state that ancestor veneration is not idol worship. No form of hoodoo practices idol worship because you are not putting your ancestors on the same level of God as God. You are honoring them, not worshiping them. There is a huge difference. And it's the same thing with the elements. In hoodoo, you do things to honor the water and the air and fire and the earth. You honor them. You give thanks to them for what they contribute, but you are not worshiping them, especially on the same level as God. So that's a bit of a misunderstanding. But again, a lot of Christians are against hoodoo because they believe that it's idol worship and they think that idol worship is demonic, which is understandable. But this is not idol worship. It's important to understand that. And a lot of hoodoo practitioners have a negative relationship with Christianity because of church hurt. They dealt with church hurt. They went through the church being rejected for whatever reason, for a multitude of reasons. Therefore, they have kind of pushed away from the church. And dwelling in church hurt has caused a lot of hoodoo practitioners to call to kind of decolonize hoodoo or separate hoodoo from the church. But that is not okay for a couple reasons. Let's go through them. Number one, because our ancestors had to hide their practices within the church, Christianity is so heavily involved and intertwined in hoodoo. For example, a lot of people talk about the Book of Psalms and how the Book of Psalms is used a lot in hoodoo. That is very true. The second thing is our ancestors hid a lot of messages and practices within Christianity, within gospel songs, within church hymns. So when you do away with the Christian aspect of hoodoo, you are doing away with the aspect of hoodoo itself because you are throwing away those messages and those practices. And I would be remiss if I did not honor African traditional religions out of respect and say that when you try to strip down hoodoo and remove certain aspects of hoodoo that are very American, then you are getting back to the African traditional religion. And to practice those African traditional religions, you need to be initiated. So decolonizing hoodoo essentially means you're practicing the ATR and you need to get initiated. I'm out of time, but there's so much more.